That was a lot of fun. I really love I mean, we haven't connected probably in what, like 2 or 3 months since I've seen you
Yes,
last.
long time.
Every time we get a chance to talk like that, it brings forward this ideal of this adventure we've both been on.
It's just so amazing, right? I was saying to Bill, my husband, the other day, I'm like, remember when my first check was less than $2,000? I was thinking, should I go back? I'd been offered a few positions to come back to the hotel industry, and I was just like, you know what? I can just see this growing. I've
Yeah,
spoken to so many people that might need our services. Why would I
yeah,
stop now? I'm
yeah,
like, even if it takes 5 years, which
yeah,
it didn't, I'm just so happy and I get to spend more time with my family, same
yeah.
as you.
Well, it's so deserved, and that's what, I think behind it all, that's what I mean, when we like, again, like we mentioned, we were sitting at that Creve Hilton or one of the other conversations we were had. We literally just were like, "We're going to Disneyland. We don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm so excited to go there, but I don't know what's gonna happen." And to come out of it and realize, like, there was something more going on around us that's still going on around us that is the comfort of why it's worth staying with it. Yeah, just some very simple things. It didn't have to be so difficult or stressful, but everybody goes through that. I think those are the steps. That's the maturity of the process. It's not so much like gaining income or finding this place in life where you're like, hey, I made it. And I think that that's one of the bigger questions I've asked a lot. I asked Mike this years ago, like, is there ever a place you get to where you feel like, okay, I'm there? And no, like you're going to constantly reinvent yourself. You're going to find these things that you're going to grow around. You're going to reinvest yourself into your learning, whatever that is. And I think it's accepting that.
Well, I
It's
also think you
realizing,
should never stop growing. So you
yeah,
should never say, I've made it or whatever. I think you
right.
have to constantly reinvent yourself and do things that are tough.
Well, find joy in that too. Like, how do you find joy in that? And I said this to my wife the other day, I love it. I've realized that as long as I have the time to learn, I can do anything. I can figure anything out in this world. There's nothing that scares me anymore. The only thing that causes anxiety is when I put myself in a place not to have enough time to learn it. And then I get stuck in this, I don't know. And because I don't know, I become fearful. And then I become judgmental and I create shame and I worry about what other people's opinions are. But when I finally just realized, like, Dean, it's just the semantics of creating this experience. Like you mentioned the podcast. It wasn't a big thing, but there were these steps that had to happen. And yet we still have a business, a day job every day that I love. Thank God this is a passion project and I have the day job. But how do you get to the end of that is literally just focusing on these steps as you go and weaving them into your life. And the miracle on the other side of it was I realized the podcast wasn't about buying the microphone or having the computer, the platform. It was the friendships I had built over the last 4 years. All my guests just came a running and said, I want to do this thing because, this is what we've been doing all along. And there isn't much of a difference to that. And I think that that's when you're getting down to your passion projects and you get into your life experiences. I think your last comment was the most valuable is take the step, jump. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you look at the old orange grainy videos that you and I used to put out on LinkedIn, it would crack you up from the very beginning. And to see, the product that you put out now that's so quick for you to go with, and efficient, it just gives inspiration to anybody out there that's got a dream or a wish. So I hope they reach out to you. I know you're also on LinkedIn. I'll put some show notes out on these things too. But if anybody out there is hearing this conversation and is looking for an amazing mentor, Yvette Campbell's the one.
You're so nice. And thank you so much for all the kind words you said during the show. It's just, you know what? I've always had a connection with you. I mean, I remember the first time we were walking down, I think it was at IMAX, and you said these guys are just coming up to Mike Ferreira. And I'm like, this is never going to happen to us. I don't even know how to turn on the computer. Never mind, get people that are actually following us. And, here we are 5 years later, and exactly the same thing is happening to us. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Every time that happens to me, I giggle inside because it just makes me so happy because we never thought we would get to this point. And it's just such a blessing.
And it just took time. And that's the thing about, it can be learned. Yeah. When I left my corporate career, I had 500 people on my LinkedIn account. And I think I was still using a beeper. I was so old. I just didn't see a need for it.
Right.
I had structured myself in this way where everything around me, uh, I was stressed in the beginning trying to keep up with the different products and things like that. But later I realized like this was imposed stress. This wasn't something that was healthy. And when I started to allow myself this growth and realize like this is about moving from this role to that role, and kind of use the analogy like there was a day you were a catering coordinator before you were a director, man. I mean, you're going to have to learn how to let this thing grow around you. That started to let it sink in a little bit that I had work to do and it was going to be okay. We're going to get to where we need to get to. We always have.
Yeah. I mean,